We're here at Pantai Matahari Terbit, and the plan tonight is to walk the full length of the beachfront path, show you what it's like, see if it's safe, see if it's easy to walk in the dark, see how dark some of those areas actually are, and reach right down to Pantai Mertasari, which is about 5.8 kilometres away. Join me tonight as we take this epic journey along Sanur's beachfront path at night. Let's get stuck in. Pantai Matahari Terbit is where the harbour is located, over in that direction, for boats going to Nusa Penida and Nusa Lembongan. And as you walk south, you get straight into a dark area. It's an area which is being renovated right now and really hasn't been finished yet. It has taken a long time, but in the past, this whole area was sort of dipped a little bit lower. Now, there's a couple of steps here you need to be worried about with the situation as it is now with no lighting. As you can see, still under construction more or less, this whole section here, until we get closer to Pantai Bansal, where there are a bunch of new places opened, which cater mainly towards locals, but there seems to be a lot of foreigners enjoying the new restaurant vibe down there as well. If you're staying in the very north of town, this is an area that you're more likely to gravitate towards because there's not actually a lot up here. But this new area sort of does away with all the old warungs that used to be around and leaves you with a lot more modern establishments, but still quite cheap. In fact, tonight I'm seeing a lot more foreigners than I've ever seen here before. I'd say in some of the places it's 50-50 foreigners, 50-50 sort of local. There's places like that, Pizza and Go, they do great pizza. Peso is like a little cafe type joint. Gold Mine, another coffee shop. Korja, another sort of coffee style place. And then Bayside is another coffee place. So there's 4 coffee places in a row. In that sort of area we sort of can group together and call it the Bansal Restaurants. Mainly because we are now at Pantai Bansal, which is still quite far north, because between here and Pantai Sindhu, which is where the main action is in the northern end of town, there's a massive gap where an old hotel, which has been newly renovated just through the other side of the car park here at Pantai Bansal. You come across all of these sorts of knick-knack shops, arts and crafts, clothes, that sort of thing. But after that, there's not a whole lot here because it really hasn't been developed because you have a hotel next door. Now I'll show you what I mean. Oh, the path is well lit, easy to walk along. So if you're staying in the northern end of town and you wanted to walk along here, well, it's quite beautifully lit. Look at it. It's the old Grand Inner Bali. That whole site has been redone and part of it's opened already. There are actually 2 hotels on the site these days. This is the first one. They actually call it the Bali Beach Hotel Sanur, which is not a very original name, but that's what they're calling it. It's the main old Grand Inner section, you know, the big skyscraper that's been here for about, I think, 60 years already. They've fully renovated that now. Last time I came along here to do one of these strolls along the beach, that place was partially open and partially under construction, but it looks like it is now fully open. Unfortunately, this hotel's really in the middle of the dead zone. And what I mean by dead zone is the distance between Pantai Bansal and Pantai Segara Ayu, the next beach along, is quite a long way. And if you just want to nick out to a local restaurant, you can't really do it. I mean, you have to walk quite far or have a bicycle. That's the real negative about this part of town, this end of town, this hotel. Now, if that doesn't matter to you and you're happy to eat in the hotel itself or whatever, well, no problem. And I can see here, they've got a little lounge out the front. That's got quite a few people staying there. So obviously what I'm saying has to be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt. Now, the next hotel that's on site is over there. That's the Meru. I think it might even be more expensive. That's sort of like a new build on the same site. This whole site had a lot of bungalows and dilapidated buildings on it, and they've actually gotten rid of a lot of those so far and built this new hotel. And I think in time they're probably going to do that with other areas of it, because the tract of land that they have is just absolutely enormous and one of the biggest tracts of land in all of Sanur. Because I'm in that dead zone at the moment, it's probably a good time to talk about safety along this path. There are so many people right now along this path, it's about 7:30, that there's no way that you're going to have any safety concerns right here, right now. It's just quite busy. If you go like a lot later at night, if you're like 10 o'clock at night, maybe it gets a little bit quieter. But again, I don't hear of any sort of safety concerns along this beach. I haven't really heard of too many issues, even when it's really quiet, or a quieter time of year, or a quiet day, or a quieter time of night. But so far, it's busy anyway, so you will feel safe for sure. We're just coming out of that dead zone now into Pantai Segara Ayu. This is probably the furthest north that I'd prefer to stay. Other people stay further north than that. That's personal preference, but this is my sort of preference for the furthest north that I'd want to go. And around here, you have a bunch of warongs there that are quite popular, but generally, yeah, not doing too much. During the day over here, this beach is filled with tables and stuff that those warongs can bring you out a coconut. I know one of my big subscribers, Aravin, he loves to come down here for a coconut. Here you go, Pantai Segara or Segara Ayu. Now, as we get into this part of the beachfront path, it's a mix of warongs and very good restaurants. And you'll see here that this is like just the live music going, Segara, the beachside bar and restaurant. You got the big lobster up there as well. But as you can see, like, it's quite lively down here, and there's quite a lot of people here. There's quite a nice feel up here. It's got a little bit of an older feel, I think, up at Pantai Segara. You know, you can see some of the beach shack sort of things going on down here. And then you get into this place, which is just a real classy establishment. It's called Byrd House, and it's just a spectacular structure, actually. When you look at it, it's just visually very good. The food here is very good. They've got some sort of, I don't know, casual music going with a DJ. Beautiful deck out the front there, really nice. And then over the other side of Byrd House, you have a section which backs onto a swimming pool and hotel. And then you've got the indoor air-conditioned section if it just gets too hot. Now, Byrd House is one that you might want to try out for something a little bit more modern, like it's very modern. And then you come straight across and then you're into Tootsie, which is not so modern, but loved by a lot of people as well for its old school vibe. And no sooner have we rattled through a bunch of restaurants there, and we're at Pantai Sindhu, which for me is the main centre here in the north. A very, very popular place with locals and foreigners alike. Has some good warongs here. That's why it's a bit popular. You've got some cheap food and you've got some more expensive fancy food, and it's quite close to the Icon Mall. That's the Turtle Conservation Centre up here. You can go in there and pay a little donation and see what they're doing with the turtles around this area. This place is really, really cool. That's called Amphibia. That's a seafood restaurant, and you can see there in the front on ice they've got all that fish. You can do a great meal there for like 200,000 easily for two people, easily. Very cheap, very cheap. One of the cheapest sort of seafoods you can get around the place, and quite fresh. Over here, you've got some interesting places. Around the back, you've got a place called Dutzburger. This is a little bit more lively during the day, that area, those warongs. But at night, Dutzburger is still there around the back. Cheap hamburgers, local style. And as you can see, like, it's really well lit around here at Sindhu. I mean, it just feels like very bright, very safe. It's very busy. So it's got a bit of a vibe about it as well. So as far as safety goes, no problem. The path is completely flat, no problems. And here we go. We're into more restaurants. Soul on the Beach, extremely popular. Soul on the Beach, just more cafe style, cafe slash restaurant. Extremely popular is Soul on the Beach. And this next place is Kayu Manis. I never usually see that many people in there, but that's busy right now, very busy. Almost no seats available. It's so busy. Moreno, a few people in there as well. It's quite lively. And then we're up to the Sindhu Beach Market. Now, if you've never been to that, like, that's the place you've got to come for all your old school knick-knack shopping. They've got a massive selection of shops. They've got everything you can think of, all the handbags, all the clothes, all the cheap stuff that you used to bargain for in the past. Only 50 metres along from Moreno, you've got this place, Osteria Pizzeria, Italian place attached to the mall. So this is all part of the mall complex. Sands, I've been there a few times. They do decent food. It can get quite lively as well. As the night goes on, people have had a few drinks, the live music gets a bit louder. That's actually pretty good. And then you've got the Icon, the big monstrosity of the Icon, which everyone says they hate, but it's got to be the busiest place in town. But that's pretty normal, isn't it? You know, I'm the same. You know, I don't like it, but I go there sometimes. Next to the Icon, which is all lit up, is this project which is just stalled, the Magnum Residences. I don't know what the status of it is. I heard that it might be starting up again, but at the moment it's stalled. So what that gives you is a little bit of a dead spot until you get into some of the hotels and restaurants that are in the next section. It's not too bad, like it's not bad at all. But yeah, it's just a little bit of a dead zone there for about 50 metres until you get to this convenience store just here. This is what the Respati looks like at night. Yeah, it's pretty quiet. Like, obviously people, they don't have that many in-house guests. People are all out there sort of, you know, getting their food probably from the Icon next door, to be honest. This joint up here with all the bamboo used to be a beach club of some sort, and they're now converting it into a beach club. So I don't know what the story is with that. It was a beach club, didn't succeed. They're making it a beach club again. So yeah, Gazebo Beach Hotel, hardly anyone sort of dining there. There's a couple of people on the beach, but they're the older school places that you probably remember from about 25 years ago. Still operating, but just not as popular as they used to be. So this is Memories Sanur Club, and it's extremely busy. Like, I've actually never seen, I mean, granted, I don't come down at night very often, but I've actually never seen anyone in there before. They've got the live music going, extremely busy. Must have something good about it if it keeps getting those customers there. And that's the thing. I mean, you come at different times of day to different places and you just get different experiences. That place is dead during the day for sure, but it's busy at the moment, and maybe the season as well, because I know it's the high season for Europeans at the moment, so you have a different clientele to what you might have at other times of year. And this is the classiest beachfront setting in all of Sanur, Tandjung Sari. They've got a nice restaurant down the front, and those hotel rooms are one of the more expensive ones in all of Sanur as well. But I mean, it's just class. Like, look at that, just pure class. Not everyone loves that hotel. I've had a few people say to me they didn't really like the rooms there, but it's expensive and there are a lot of people going there, so there must be something to it which people love. Just by looking at the outside of it, because I haven't been inside, but looking at the outside of it, it's very, very well presented, and that sort of gives you a pretty good feel about the place, you know? Like, you get that sense that, hey, this place has got a bit of class about it. That's the Basaki Beach Hotel and Restaurant. The restaurant has 0 customers tonight, unfortunately. I don't know if it's open or whatever, but it's pretty dead. Then we get down into all these other sort of, there's a string of hotels here, which are popular hotels. First we have is the Griya Santrian. Not so many people there, like there's a few people eating at the restaurant there. That's the Arena Seaside restaurant. The hotel, it looks fairly quiet. There's no live music on, maybe they're on a break. But this is such a classy hotel as well, and very popular. Yeah, there's a few people here, definitely. People are loving this. Griya Santrian, beautiful, beautiful place. Gets a little bit darker here, but still there are lights. And you can see people are still running along the path now. It's getting pretty late, you know, it's getting up towards 8 o'clock. Even though there's nothing in this section, it's mainly because of the hotel that used to be here that's no longer here anymore. It's been sort of redone. I think it looks like they're actually renovating it and they're going to open something new there, but it hasn't opened yet, so it's still a closed sort of hotel. But if that does open up and there's a new sort of influx of places to eat down here, which I'm not sure there will be, to be honest, because that just looks like a big swimming pool, but if there was, that'd be a beautiful addition to this little section, which is a little bit empty at the moment. Having said that, even though it's a little bit dead, there's nothing much here, there's lighting at least, you know, safe as, nice smooth path, you're not going to trip over, or if you had a few drinks you might, but yeah, otherwise you should be pretty steady on your feet through here, even though there's nothing here. As we get close to Pantai Karang, there's a little car park just behind the beach with a temple here, and you always see like a amount of rubbish around the back there. And in that little empty area is where there are a lot of cremations. They happen more often on weekends, but not purely on weekends. The Balinese do choose specific days based on what the priest advises and that sort of thing. But that's a really interesting cultural experience as well. So if you're in this area, make sure you sort of duck in there every now and then to see what's going on, because you might see a parade coming along, you might see a cremation, and it's not weird to watch and observe what's going on if you're respectful. Like, it's not weird at all. Whereas if someone barges into a funeral, like in Australia, that'd be pretty weird, but here it's not. So this is where a lot of the yoga happens as well, at Pantai Karang. Pantai Karang is sort of, I guess, just a little bit of a bright sort of spark, I guess, in this whole stretch where there isn't a whole lot, because after this, there's another long section until you get down to probably Batujimbar, where there's nothing, no cafes or restaurants or anything. But definitely at Pantai Karang, you can nick up that side street back to the main road pretty easily, and that's the same as Batujimbar as well, which we're coming up to in not too long. Again, immediately south of Pantai Karang, the path is fine, well lit, flat, no problem whatsoever. What happens though is there is a little bit of a darker section coming up, and I'll show you what I mean by that. It's not a long area, but it's very dark, so you would need your own lighting. That's one of those mega private residences near Pantai Karang as well. They are just absolutely phenomenal, and the path is well lit until here, and then it just goes black. Interestingly, there are people walking in the dark through here, so it doesn't feel unsafe at all, but it is like as you can see, that is pitch black. I cannot see the ground at all. It's just complete darkness. It's mainly because there is a little villa in there, and because the bushes are so high and so thick, none of the light from that villa comes through to the path. It's not scary because there are other people here, but if you're uneasy on your feet, that could be problematic. Another one of these sort of residences up here, that had a full renovation in recent times, and it does look magnificent, but empty. And again, we're lit up still, but then we have a section of about 50 metres in complete darkness on our way to Pantai Batujimbar, which is where the Maya resort is. So we're getting into the southern part of town now. I'd say Pantai Karang would be sort of midway, and then we're now in sort of the southern area. But yeah, you can see it's pretty dark here. It's not as pitch black as before. There is a little bit of light coming through. We're at Batujimbar. There's the beach down there. There's a little road down there, which is basically under renovation. They're putting a pipe down there to drain the water into the ocean. That's what I've been told. So it abates some of the flooding on the main road. And we're at the Maya here, which sounds fairly lively. A lot of people there. I mean, it's very busy. A classy resort, decent food, a great outlook, great location. It ticks all the boxes actually, the Maya. And they've got the music going now, quite a few people there, and people are loving it. It is just one of the good places in Sanur, I reckon. The Maya, location-wise and everything, it's just good. This place next door to the Maya is the Pantai View, much cheaper. It has a very old school feel to it, the Pantai View. And the people who like the old Bali love this place because of it, because it has that real older feel to it, you know? Now the problem with that sometimes is that the maintenance isn't kept up. I can't comment on that at Pantai View, but still, location fantastic, older school feel, much cheaper than the Maya, brilliant, unreal place. This is Warung Pantai Indah, a place you can come down, have a few cheap beers and meal on the beach, feet in the sand, right next door to Pantai View. That can get very popular sometimes. I can see there a table full of empties, and they're all long necks too. Someone's had long nets and a couple of shot glasses, so someone's already had a big night and it's not even 8 o'clock. And now we get into the Andaz Resort. This part of the Andaz Resort looks like a private villa of some sort, and it is, but it's part of the Andaz private villa system. You can book a 2-bedroom villa here in these little places, and you have your own little lawn, your own little day beds out the front, you've got a little lounge room out there, and then behind the wall is your massive villa. And then we come to their beautiful pool area. Now, if I was staying there tonight, I'd be in the pool, even though it's a bit cold, because swimming in that pool at night looks to me like a fantastic idea. Like really, it's beautiful. I've stayed there before. Luckily, a friend of ours had a wedding here and we stayed here for free, and it was just one of the most special experiences in terms of hotel stays you can have. Hello, how are you going? And again, you've got eating out the front here at this Fisherman's Club. I haven't eaten, well, I've eaten there when I went to that wedding. That was beautiful, but I haven't eaten there a la carte. Tonight it looks like they've got quite a few tables in, which you don't often see. That's a lot more people. Mari, silakan. Yeah, it's you don't often see it that busy, so that's really promising that people are starting to sort of pay attention to that place now, because the chefs there are brilliant. The food's brilliant. Like I know the restaurants that are sort of around the back or more centrally inside that hotel, because they've got about 4 of them. They are brilliant. The breakfast there is amazing, which I've probably banged on about like 50,000 times over the course of my YouTubing career, because I just love it so much. It's just, for me, it's so luxurious and gluttonous, and at a good price. So like, it's just, I don't know, just one of those things. I don't do it often, but yeah, if you want to shout me your breakfast down at the Andaz, let me know, because I'll be there. And right next door, because that Andaz is owned by Hyatt. Hyatt's obviously right next door. And the Hyatt has a massive sort of frontage to the beach. So now that Hyatt is a very, very old hotel. That structure is over 50 years old. But those rooms are recently renovated and they're beautiful. They are beautiful. It is a beautiful hotel. And first of all, I love it. I love the Hyatt, but there's a certain relaxed feel to it that I really love. It's not stiff in any way. It's highly polished, so it's just a very, very polished feel to it. The food's good, but it's just so relaxed. So when you come along here, and I'll show you this, it's like you're gonna go, what? You come along here, and the beach is on the left, and they set up here a few nights a week. They set up a massive buffet. Now sometimes it's busy, sometimes it's not. At the moment this looks really busy, this big buffet they've got going. I don't know what the theme is tonight, but they have different themes, you know, surf and turf and all that sort of stuff, but I'd imagine barbecue would be the go. They've got a big offset smoker here as well that you can see, which is pretty cool. Yeah, you can see it over there. Look at that big buffet going. Massive. Now that's open for outside guests as well. Here's your big offset. Look at that thing. That's a beast, eh? It's like a steam train. Big roast barramundi, roast pork, roast beef, everything there. Like they've got everything going. And you've got your drink station over in the corner. They've got spirits, they've got beers, everything. Absolutely brilliant. Hello. So that happens a few nights a week. Now if you want a sort of a special buffet dinner at some point, I reckon that's probably a good one to come to. You pay for it, like these things aren't cheap, but when you compare it to like Western prices, it is cheap, but it's by Bali prices, it's pretty expensive. But I just think it's worth coming out to these special meals. If you don't have a lot of money, at least every now and then, and it's quite busy in this area, even though it's quite dark, path easily visible because the lighting, you know, has a little bit of light to it, but it's not pitch black, but it is dark in areas. There's a guy in front of me who's got a torch. And the next place that we get to is a place called Pizzeria, which is part of the Hyatt. Now, Pizzeria is spelt weird. It's not like, it's spelt wrong, but that's just the way they do it. That place is always busy. And even if you don't have a massive meal there, and you just come for a couple of drinks and maybe a little bit of a snack, unreal, unreal. One of the best beachfront places in all of Sanur, for sure. Then we come up to La Playa. La Playa, look at that. Look how busy that is. Like that. It's full. Yeah? That's La Playa. Probably the most popular beachfront eatery in all of Sanur. Well, not probably, like it is. It's the most popular. Always full, always full. What do? Well, they do Western food. You can get some Indonesian favourites down there. Oh, there's Seagrass, bit of a cafe style place. I just go on about La Playa a bit more because I think it's more important. People love it because you can go down there and drink cheap wine, cheap beer, get some cheap food. I mean cheap by beachfront standards, not cheap by like a local Warung standard. And the outlook over the beach is just sensational. That deck they've got, they've actually, it did fall into the ocean at one point, but they've built it again and it's back up and running. And that place is just phenomenal, just really, really good. Really good. I'm into another dark section here at Pantai Duyung. So we just moved to Pantai Duyung, pitch black. This is where all those warungs and restaurants used to be, like Lila Pantai and that sort of stuff. And because they're not here anymore, there is no lighting, completely dark, which is unfortunate because this was one of the liveliest places along the whole beachfront path, and now it's just a dead zone, which is just one of the great tragedies. I had expected they would redevelop this place fairly quickly, because why would you tear down a bunch of places if you're not going to redevelop it straight afterwards? But it hasn't been redeveloped. What they've done is they've torn down all the buildings and just left it with a bit of tin along the side of the path, which is really unsightly and a damn shame. Anyway, it's light again now as we get to the Kelompok Nelayan. That's the community sort of place for the fishermen, local fishermen who have customary rights down here. That's another thing that we as Westerners sometimes don't understand the concept of, and I certainly don't. I try to understand it, but I certainly don't understand it by a long way, and that's customary rights and having a right to something because you've always been here. It sort of goes against the sort of Western concept of ownership in a lot of ways. So I'm always on the quest to find out more about, you know, customary ownership and customary rights, and why a particular local community can impose taxes on other people coming into the area and that sort of stuff in the form of parking, for example. It's quite interesting. All right, now we get to the Intercontinental, another classy place. Pretty busy in there actually. I don't usually see that many people in there, but that's pretty busy in that restaurant. Yeah, really busy. It's got to be the time of year. I had a follower or a subscriber tell me that they thought it was one of the busiest times they've ever seen down here. They got live music, beautiful, beautiful atmosphere. They've got the wind blowing as well. And if you're out here having a couple of beers or a couple of wines or a couple of shandies, like, you're gonna be loving life, aren't you? Loving it. Then we're into Tapa or Tafa. It depends if you pronounce it the Indonesian way, it'd be Tapa. But I don't know if it's an English word or an Indonesian word. So Tafa, I don't know. This is usually a bit busier than it is tonight. There's no live music on at the moment, so maybe that's sort of a negative to the place. People are going to the places where there's live music. Again, path still beautiful and flat and safe. You're sort of getting a theme here, aren't you? Like, I've already walked, well, how far have I walked now? I've walked over 4 kilometres, and we've yet to really encounter too many problems as far as darkness goes. Even this is slightly dark, but it's not pitch black. The Nest, that's the newer Nest, there's 2 of those. Still a beautiful place to go and have a spa. Very reasonably priced for a place on the beach, in my opinion. Then we have, well, a few places. Well, Naked Bacon is closed because it's a coffee shop. Oh no, it's still open. Wow, at this time of night. And then the Avocado Lovers is shut. Oh no, it's not, that's open, but it's so quiet it looks shut. And then we are at Pantai Semawang. Say that 3 times really fast. Semawang, Semawang. It's hard. That's Studio di Pantai. Beautiful outlook. Beautiful little place, that place. Actually really quiet, really quiet. So in the mornings, they're really busy, basically with locals. Really busy, like almost full. It's just one of those places. Lunchtime, very busy. But seemingly at night, not as busy. Interesting. We get down here into a stretch. Well, this is really far south in town, but I really like this stretch. It's between here and the next hotel, there's a bunch of warungs. And I just sort of call them bunch of warungs because going through each one individually is pretty difficult, but there are about sort of, probably 15 of them. And the number of customers they get varies depending on the time of day and the time of year. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anyone there at the moment. And here it is. The first place is 00. It's probably the one that you hear most people talk about most often. There are probably 6 tables filled there. So that, I guess that's mildly popular. It's not really that busy, but it's mildly popular. And there are other places here that seem to be shut, which is a little bit sad. It hasn't got that busyness that I would hope for. Oh, there's a couple of people down here at another warung, so that warung hasn't got any customers. This one, halal warung food menu, there's a few tables there. You can see over there, them dark. That's what it looks like. And now, oh, I didn't know that was going to be the case. Now we're in the dark because none of these warungs are open. There's a couple in front of me walking along the path, so it's not dead quiet. But I'm just surprised at the fact that this thing is dead. Because I think it's a good idea to have these warungs, but I guess if no one's coming here, there's no point opening them, is there? That's really sad. Really sad to see that the bunch of warungs, even with the very few that they've got open, and given this is a fairly high season and a lot of other places are busy, that is really not very popular. About 50 metres from the end of the warungs, the bunch of warungs, you come to the Puri Santrian. Again, another favourite place among visitors to Sanur. It's got a bit of a good reputation to it. I've heard that it's not as good as the Griya Santrian, but it's actually still very good. And when you go past it every day, you see a little bit about it that sort of gives you a bit of hope that if you ever stay there, that you're going to have a good time. Nice pool area. You've got these big sort of covered lounges that you can sort of hide away in during the day. And then at night, the situation's like this. It's a little bit classy. Really sort of loungy type seating arrangement. You've got a guy playing a saxophone over there. Along this little, there's a little sort of path out into the ocean out there. And along the end of those things, and they're up and down the sort of the beachfront path here in Sanur. At night, you'll often see guys out there either drinking or fishing, or both. They love it out there. In the dark, it's all sorts of people. Like, it looks like there's no one there at the moment. I squinted a little bit and I can see two people out there. Now, I don't know if they're fishing, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're fishing out there. 50 metres from the Puri Santrian, we have these little shops here with the massage ladies. They've been around here forever. Yeah, it's just a sort of one of the fixtures of the place, really. And straight next door to that, well, a little bit of a interesting thing, in that car park around the back there, in the dark, there's a little temple that during the daytime, there's a fish, a carved fish there. That's a pretty cool temple to go to. It's just there, and no one ever goes to look at it because it's like about a C-grade attraction. Costa by Monster. I've actually probably can count on my hand the number of times I've actually seen people eating there, and tonight it's almost full. Extremely busy, extremely successful, which is surprising to me because I rarely see people in there earlier in the day, but at dinner it looks like it's very popular. That's pretty cool. Costa by Monster. That's a Monster by Costa. Next place up is Bobby's. Bobby's is, I guess, an older school place like that, with some beachfront seating. People love Bobby's. Again, they love it because of the old school feel about it. Like, it's really old school, and it's got the old school menu, old school vibe, the old school people serving you. And if that's why you're coming to Bali, and I know a lot of people are, like, that's a place you've got to go. You've got to go there. Right next door to the Prama, which is there. Now, this also occupies a massive section of beachfront, which again sort of limits the number of eating options because of it. So over there in the foreground, if you can't see it, there's a big pool, and then you've got those 4 stories of rooms across there. It's such a big complex. They've done a big renovation of the restaurant area in the past few years, which I can show you. A viewer of the channel mentioned that he was the one that designed that and did a bit of consulting on it. He's famous up in Ubud for running a few restaurants that were very popular back in the day, places like Warung Enak. They were brilliant, and the design by the late Mad Wijaya, just brilliant. But this is what we've got here now, and it's pretty popular. There's quite a few people eating here, and I guess a mix of in-house guests and people that have just sort of passed by. Live music going on over there, which I think's pretty cool. And this is like the bamboo bath that they've got going now, and it's just really popular, like really popular. Yeah, a great place if you like to have a little relaxing drink while you listen to a bit of live music and have that sort of typical Bali relaxed thing going on. That's where you do it. The beach is a cafe, and look, it's been around for a little while now. Originally, it didn't get a lot of customers, especially in the morning. It just was a little bit underwhelming in terms of the number of customers it got. But I've noticed in recent times it's been getting busier. A lot busier, in fact, and that's good because we want businesses to succeed here, because without successful businesses, we've got no choice of, you know, the places that we want to go to. It looks like they are just about closed. They've got one table left there at the moment. I don't know, they don't even look like they're serving anything. Everything looks closed except that one table. But that doesn't seem too lively at night, but definitely during the day. Really popular now, I love it. Now this next place, underrated gem. Oh God, I said the word gem. But anyway, underrated place to come in Sanur, down the very southern end of town. It's called Retro Beach. You know, it's associated with the Retro restaurant up on Jalan Tumblingan, Danau Tumblingan. Brilliant, absolutely packed in there at the moment. One of the best places at this end of town to eat. Absolutely brilliant. That place opens fairly early, not very busy. Get down at night time, busy as. Really nice. This end of town's not as popular really. There's only a few big hotels down there, like after you get past the Prama, there's the Mercure and that's it. So you don't have heaps of people down here, but that place always busy at night. So we are now walking past the Mercure Hotel, and I'm gonna hear some really loud music over here. They seem to have some sort of buffet on, and they do have buffets from time to time. One of the cheaper buffets you can get in town, like a seafood buffet, I think they do for like under 300,000 or something. Very cheap. But I mean, you know, it's sort of at a price point that people are happy with as well. A bit about live music going. There you go. Yeah. Well, that's not a seafood one. That's got satay. Must be like a local barbecue. Not too busy, to be honest. Not too busy. But next door is the Genius Cafe. Now, the Genius Cafe is an interesting one because it's another one of these places that's always been moderately popular. Moderately popular. But now I'm finding that, especially in the mornings, I'm finding that it's getting a lot more popular. A lot more popular. Now we're getting into a little bit of a dead zone here. Sort of a vacant block of land over the fence here. And it's dark. Yeah. You can see sort of the planes are taking off in this direction tonight. You sort of sit out here at this end of the beach and just watch the planes take off. On other nights you can watch them land. It's just really nice. I like this end of the beach. Brilliant. Oh, fireworks. I'm sure the people that are paying $700 a night in that hotel aren't going to be happy with that. Oh well. And the path is quite dark here, even though there's a light there. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Fireworks. There's someone running up the beach, they're excited about the fireworks. It's like he's never seen a firework before. Hello. Hello. So friendly. Little warungs, like there's a few warungs here, they're more popular with local people, although you do get the odd foreigner coming down here as well. Much cheaper, these sorts of warungs. They are like cafes, really. I mean, I'd call them a warung, but you could even say, yeah, you could say cafe. I mean, just a bit of a lower class cafe. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially when you're getting good prices, good food, and you're sitting with your feet in the sand. Brilliant. We're just getting down to the car park here of Pantai Mertasari. You'll find that there are cafes and warungs along there that are closed at the moment, but are open during the day. And all the furniture from those cafes and warungs are being used by the locals. Have a bit of a picnic here at night. And we're getting close. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. So we've got, her name's Anne, because I'm very good at remembering names, and this is Neville.
This is Neville.
So I was just speaking to these guys earlier, and I've just walked from the harbour down here, so 5.8 k's, and they're still down here. So how is it?
This was one of the best illuminated experiences we've had. It was sensational.
How was the vibe down here with the people?
The vibe was pumping.
Yeah. Love it.
I've just danced.
Energy?
Yeah. Energy was up. I've been dancing, singing.
Yeah.
I had a little family come up to me and want to high-five me.
Did you have anything to eat yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine.
That's where we're
what I'm
going
doing
now.
too. Yeah.
We're going back to Jackfish for
yeah.
yeah.
I just went through there.
Oh, is it busy?
Closing down?
Dark.
Yeah, okay.
There was a couple open, but yeah, pretty dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I'm going to keep going. Good to see you guys
nice
again.
To see you.
Yeah, see ya. Yeah. So Yeah, I saw those guys earlier on in the day. They're from Adelaide. Yeah, so they've been down here. What they were talking about is there is a kite festival at the moment, and the kite festivals go all through July and August. And this particular one tonight is with lights, so it's illuminated, as they said, and they said it was spectacular. Now, I'm not going to do a whole video on that because I've been doing so many videos on kites, I'm going to be boring everyone to death. But I'm going to check it out a little bit myself. I'll show you what it looks like. Just as we get to the end of the beachfront path and we get to all the warungs which are down there, often you'll get a good satay babi down there, but you can get all sorts of different stuff as well. Get cold drinks, beers, whatever. And then this is the car park, which is normally just a big block of sand and dirt, but today and tonight it's been changed into a beautiful festival with all these kites going up. What are they, Teletubbies? All sorts of different things going up there. Looks beautiful. And better than that, you've got a few fireworks, you've got a bit of energy in the air, and that's what we love about Bali. That's my cue to wrap things up here on my beachfront walk, my Sanur stroll along the beachfront path, 5.8 kilometres from the harbour, Pantai Matahari Turbid, all the way to Pantai Mertasari. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and Sampai Jumpa.